Well, hello, everyone, and welcome here to Bedford. Nick Anastas, Kristen Cameron with you, getting set for our Friday Night Lights New Hampshire game of the week between the Bedford Bulldogs and the Bishop Guertin Cardinals. Two heavyweight contenders in Division I again in 2024. They are rivals. They are familiar with each other. They have identical 8-2 records, and both teams want this one badly in what could be, just could be, a championship preview. This one's got some buzz around it, as we know, not just in the media. Good crowd on hand here as well. Overcast skies, but that has not deterred fans from both schools to head to Bulldogs Stadium. Kristen, I know you're excited here. I know you've talked to several of at least the Cardinals staff before the game, I'd imagine. And what is the vibe here as BG looks for their 6th straight win, if they can pull it off here on the road?
This is a really exciting heavyweight matchup. I think when you get Bedford versus Bishop Guertin, every time, everyone gives their all. It's an energizing game. I think also because there's a bunch of Bedford girls, Bedford natives on BG, and so you get that rivalry that I think it's long-standing, and so I'm excited to see how this plays out tonight.
And, of course, you were a part of that BG squad back in the day, a 2015 graduate with the Cardinals. Does it make you want to compete that much harder when you're that familiar with the opponent, in this case a rivalry matchup?
It does, especially because you know the other team so well. You know how they play, their style of play. I think the preparation is just a little bit different because you can be more precise in how you prepare. And so I think we'll see, a lot of really intentional sets and strategy in this game today.
Of course, the Bulldogs led by longtime head coach Christine Hodgson. They got over the hump last year, capturing the Division I state championship with a win over Portsmouth in the final. And they won the first 7 on the schedule again this year, led by Olivia Matthews, who is one of the best midfielders statewide.
One of the best, if not the best, that I've seen. She's playing lights out this year, and she's pulling a lot of weight on this team. And so I think with this Bedford group tonight, we're going to see, can they overcome their lack of depth? They have some star power on that team, but compared to the Cardinals and the depth that I see, if we just look at commitments across the roster, this is going to be a big one for Olivia Matthews. Can she do it all for this team?
Now, some keys as we look both ways. A lot of skilled players, obviously, on both sides, and 2 head coaches who live and breathe lacrosse. Callie Santos, now the head coach after an assistant last year under Leslie Y, and, of course, a former alum and a teammate of yours. What does it come down to tonight, X's and O's wise, in your opinion, without, of course, giving everything away?
Yeah, I think the Cardinals are going to want to play fast and use their depth to their advantage. They can sub a second midfield line, and they've got a lot of girls on the bench that can contribute. And so I think if they do get a lot of players in the mix and play really fast, I think we'll look to see, them wear down Bedford quickly. On the Bedford side, I expect them to slow it down a little bit, really take advantage of every possession.
So tempo definitely something to watch between 2 contrasting styles. All right, we are a few minutes late getting off the ground. The original game time was 5:30. They moved that back to 6, and now we are finally getting the stick checks underway down on the field. National anthem will follow, and then opening face-off. So a few minutes from now, it's Bedford and Bishop Guertin in our Friday Night Lights New Hampshire Game of the Week, presented by Beals Insurance.
Our broadcast today, as it always is brought to you by Beals Insurance Agency, with locations now in both Bedford and Londonderry. Whether you need home, auto, or business insurance, Beals Insurance will get you both the price and quality coverage that's right for you. Just call 603-471-9999 or visit BealsInsurance.com to request a free quote and start saving money today. Again, that's BealsInsurance.com. The New Hampshire Tomahawks promote the highest level of club lacrosse competition, not just in the state, but in the country. Looking to get recruited? Director Chris Cameron keeps an open dialogue with the nation's top college lacrosse coaches. Over 400 New Hampshire Tomahawks alumni have played at the college level, including the ACC, Big East, Big Ten, Ivy, NESCAC, NE10, and more. The New Hampshire Tomahawks coaching staff has over 100 coaches, including current high school, varsity, and college coaches. The Tomahawks offer training for players of all ages, clinics, camps, and leagues, along with spring, summer, and fall elite teams. So play with the best. The New Hampshire Tomahawks, showcase and development for college lacrosse. Visit newhampshiretomahawks.com and girls.nhtomahawks.com. How can you reach your team's fundraising goals at no risk and no cost? MG Sports offers a variety of products to make your team's fundraiser a success. Their products include tickets and discount cards to hundreds of local businesses. MG Sports now has a digital platform where athletes can raise funds in the comfort and safety of their own home. So become another lacrosse program like Bedford, Goffstown, or Memorial that sets fundraising records every season. MG Sports, fundraising made easy. Visit mgsportsfundraising.com to start raising money for your team today.
All right, closing in on the national anthem here in Bedford. Nick Anastas, Kristen Cameron, our Friday Night Lights New Hampshire Game of the Week presented by Beals Insurance. Rivalry game, latest chapter in this Cardinals-Bulldogs battle. Let's turn it over to public address announcer Steve Cody, and then we'll go down to the field for the national anthem.
High School and the Bulldogs of Bedford High School. Both teams coming to today's contest with identical 8-2 records, tied for second place in the NHIAA standings. We remind you that only coaches, players, and officials are permitted on the turf or track areas. Bedford High School wholeheartedly supports the NHIAA policy on good sportsmanship. Cheering is certainly allowed and encouraged, but please be positive with your cheers and respectful to the officials and athletes competing here today. Now let's meet tonight's starting lineups. First for the Guertin Cardinals. Starting in midfield, a freshman, number 1, Lola Dumont. Starting in attack, a senior, number 2, Anna Campbell. Starting in defense, a senior, number 4, Haley LeBlanc. Starting defense, a junior, number 6, Jordan Gable. Starting attack, a senior, number 7, Lauren Redford. Starting at defense, a junior, number 9, Lindsay Rodell. Starting midfield, a senior, number 12, Ariana Kuchalakos. Starting defense, a senior, number 13, Taylor Gaylord. Starting midfield, a senior, number 14, Cameron Schmidt. Starting attack, a senior, number 20, Skylar Napoli. Starting attack, a senior, number 25, Mariella Tomasello. Starting goal for Pittsburgh, a junior, number 88, Peter Liddell. Pittsburgh is coached by Callie Santos, assisted by Leslie White and Jamie Tutras. Now let's meet the starting lineups to the Bedford High School Bulldogs. Starting midfield, a senior, number 2, Olivia Matthews. Starting midfield, a junior, number 3, Maddie Kiley. Starting midfield, a senior, number 4, Audrey Purnell. Starting midfield, a senior, number 5, Megan Muir. Starting defense, a sophomore, number 9, Makita Barry. Starting defense, a senior, number 10, Libby Norris. Starting defense, a sophomore, number 11, Melanie Gibson. Starting defense, a sophomore, number 14, Andy Nugent. Starting attack, a junior, number 15, Leah LeBlanc. Starting attack, a senior, number 22, Natalie Denny. Starting goal for Bedford, a senior, number 27, Ray Stewart. Starting attack, a senior, number 44, Tegan Steele. The head coach of Bedford is Christine Hodgson, assisted by Melissa Catenza. Tonight's officials are Dave Pelletier and Gary Wong. ladies and gentlemen, we ask you now to stand as we honor America with the playing of our national anthem.
Well, there it is, the national anthem, setting the tone here at Bulldog Stadium. Nick Anastas, Kristen Cameron with you in our Friday Night Lights New Hampshire Game of the Week, presented by Beals Insurance. Bedford at 8-2, Bishop Guertin at 8-2. And what seemingly is starting to shape up to be a 5-horse race, so to speak, in Division One. A little bit of a merry-go-round situation. Portsmouth in that mix, of course. Pinkerton and Souhegan seemingly has crashed the party as well over the last few weeks with the way they have been playing. You add these two teams into that mix, it could be a wide-open Division I tournament this year.
I think we're going to see some front runners pull ahead pretty soon. We're getting to that point in the season where teams are establishing themselves, and I just think depth is the name of the game right now. Who can really leverage their bench, especially these high school seasons do pack so many games into a short amount of time, and so, what teams can really withstand that?
What teams can get hot at the right time as well. Speaking of streaks, Bishop Guertin has won 5 in a row and are looking to improve tonight to 9-2. Bedford, meanwhile, after a 7-0 start, dropped 2 in a row. Portsmouth and then an out-of-state game. They rallied back with a blowout win over Salem to kick off the week. And they'll be back in Massachusetts on Friday when they take on Central Catholic. BG in the road greens. Green jerseys and shorts, white lettering, gold trim. And the attack will move right to left to begin the quarter. Well, Bedford in their home whites with the red lettering and black shorts will counter left to right. Both sidelines making noise. The draw features Anna Campbell, one of the state's best, the senior for Bishop Guertin, on her way to Flagler. Going up against, of course, Maddie Kiley, the junior, on her way to Bucknell. BG, they get to it first. They win the opening draw and have a first crack attempt here, likely on the way. Bedford opening up defensively here in communication. And the Cardinals in no apparent hurry as Campbell takes back over behind the cage. How important is it to strike first?
This is a long game. I think first goal isn't going to really tell us a whole lot, but that looks pretty good from that Campbell to Redfern connection.
There's Redfern finding the soft spot, pass on time, and the shot on target. So Bishop Guertin wasting little time. All in all, 32 seconds in, they strike first. It's 1-0 Cardinals.
That's one thing that I've noticed from this BG team this season is they move the ball really well, and you see a lot of players with that heads-up vision like Campbell just demonstrated. They're always looking out for each other.
So the Cardinals looking to ride the momentum. We get a rematch here between Campbell and Kiley. Up in the air, and Kiley snags it. Good hand-eye coordination there. Pays off for the Bulldogs. And now the Bedford attack. Looking to get set here to tie this thing at 1.
Those draw controls are going to be key. If you want to, hang with this BG team who could pretty much score at will on any possession, you're going to need to win the draw control and make use of every possession.
And here is Olivia Matthews, one of the players to watch tonight, the senior for Bedford. It's been a scoring machine through the first half of the regular season. And Bedford's going to need her tonight. Meanwhile, Kylie gets the step and gets the whistle. That's going to set up the junior here for a free position opportunity. See if she pulls the trigger from 12 meters out. Going to bounce this one. It goes wide. And out of play and back over to BG. Heads up play behind the cage by the defender, Haley LeBlanc, the senior, committed to Quinnipiac.
LeBlanc wins that ball because it's the player closest to where the ball goes out, and so she just, happened to be lucky where that shot deflected off Eder Linnell.
Meanwhile, the clear is there for Bishop Guertin. They're now going to settle in again behind the net. Campbell had a beautiful assist on the first possession. Up top, a touch for Lola Dumont. One of the few underclassmen getting some serious playing time here this season. The freshman getting the start. Around the horn it goes, Campbell. Bedford continuing to communicate here defensively, also sagging off a little bit. Cameron Schmidt, the midfielder, gives way. And this drive cut off. And a good pickup defensively by Audrey Purnell for Bedford. Meanwhile, Kukalachis runs into a crowd, loses it. It's scooped up by Matthews. And Bedford now trying to work out of their own end for a win there for the Bulldog defense with 3 minutes gone by in this first quarter.
That was a great defensive stand from the Bulldogs. They stayed really patient as BG worked that 3-man weave up top, held their position, and then got their stick in the way.
Meanwhile, Purnell, with 2 Cardinals in pursuit, crosses over the 30 to safety. Pass a little off target. Kylie has to scramble. But the junior sure-handedly scoops that one up on the run. So Bedford now going to take a breath and look to get their first shot attempt here. Saw the free position offering from Kylie go wide. Meanwhile, Purnell trips, draws the slide, and got tripped up. And the whistle is going to restart things here just inside the 15-yard line. A little too deep for a shot. Going to go on the near side now, and Matthews wants to clear it out. Good matchup to watch. Matthews to the middle, fires and scores. Goes top shelf. I wanted some smoke trailing it as we're tied at 1 with nearly 4 minutes gone by first quarter.
Matthews is a sniper. If you let her get her hands free, you are in trouble. I actually think that was pretty solid 1v1 defense from Jordan Gable. She mostly kept her feet in front of her. I think those last couple steps that Matthew got on her, you could see her feet were trailing. She only had her stick in front, and that's plenty of room for Matthews to get a shot off.
Had the stick right in the face, the stick head. Offered up there, and I agree with you, a good defensive effort by Madeline Harrington, but tough to stop that kind of a shot. So Matthews ties the game at 1. We're tied at 1 here in the circle. As again, it's Campbell and Kylie. After a delay, Gary Wong says, let's go. And it goes right to Matthews on one bounce. Takes it in on the move, chest high. Now Bedford looking for their first lead. Again, it's Jordan Gable, the defender, drawing the unenviable assignment of Olivia Matthews, but up to the task here. Now they're going to clear it out for Kylie, who comes middle, draws the slide. The pass is behind the target. And a whistle eventually gives this to the defense, so the Cardinals get the stop they were hoping for. Now Gable able to reel that in, spins, and turns on the gas. Good effort there on a individual clear to give the Cardinals the opportunity to retake the lead here. Nearly 5 minutes gone by first quarter. So Coach Santos is going to shuffle the cards a bit. Coach Kuchelachis comes off. And a couple of new players on the field for Bishop Guertin. Meanwhile, an errant pass sends the Cardinals scrambling. Campbell, despite a good effort, couldn't get to the line, so perhaps an unforced error there gives it back to Bedford.
Yeah, we see BG using their depth early. Love to see them getting new girls on the field. However, these unforced turnovers, that's the kind of thing that you have to clean up.
Makita Berry, sophomore for Bedford, got across the 50 and then lost it. The other way comes Schmidt. The Bucknell commit is going to slow down and pump the brakes here as Bishop Guertin looks to run their set. Abigail Lynn, who just came on a moment ago, the sophomore, is at the top of the slot. Ball behind the cage, and here's Redfern. She scored, of course, BG's lone goal in the opening minute for those who are just joining us. Now we got a one-on-one far side. It's Campbell. We're going to squirm away from some tight defense, a little too tight there for the official Gary Wong's liking. He blows the whistle, and we may see the first free position shot here for BG. Eyes on the cage. Campbell lost it, but stick came in high there.
Yeah, any check toward the face, toward the body in that sphere is going to be called.
So here's Campbell again. Had a beautiful feed on the Redfern goal to open up the game. Looking for a goal maybe of her own. Going to whip this thing towards the cage, and it finds a way home. Looked like the goaltender got a piece of it. Good effort between the cage for Grace Stewart, but in the end it rolls into the cage. And it's the second Bishop Guertin goal here of the first period.
Campbell did a couple really nice things in that set there. The first move that she did when she drew that initial shooting space, she was able to turn back and, catch that defender in shooting space. So that set up the first free position. And then she was able to learn from that first one, so she got caught up in sticks, and she said, let me just shoot this because I can. So,
the Flagler commit, who we spoke with last night on our weekly show, FNL Lacrosse, presented by the New Hampshire Tomahawks, has factored into both goals here for Bishop Guertin. 2-1 Cardinals. Got a whistle, and we're going to redo it.
Ball did not go above the player's shoulders, so if they draw and it stays below, they're going to need to redo that one.
Kylie has won 2 of the 3 so far for Bedford. There's Matthews, took it out of the air. The senior head on a swivel inside the 30, and Bedford looks to tie it at 2. Another strong closeout there by Lindsay Rodell, the junior. A little too physical. Whistle blows, and they give it back to the Bulldogs. Now Matthews will backtrack. Little shake and bake to her right. Back up top. Eye on the cage. This is Megan Muir, the senior, who fires, and they say it's a goal. That one tough to track. It looked like it did sneak just underneath the crossbar along the far pole as we get another look at the replay. Either way, a nice shot by Muir, able to get some velocity.
Yeah, she picked that corner. Another really, really nice move there. She starts left, she rolls back to her right, and that shot is extremely hard to track for a goalie because she shoots a little bit of a riser and has that stick hanging behind her body. She almost uses her body to screen her stick in the ball, and again, for a goalie, that's a really tough one to read.
A bit of a unique release, right?
Yeah, if you can do it all day, but I don't see players too often who can execute as well as Muir just did.
Plucked the corner for sure. And just beat a pretty good effort there by Madeline Eder-Linnell, the junior goaltender headed to Sacred Heart. Another win for Kylie, getting it done for Bedford so far. However, an interception is going to give it back to BG, picked off by Lynn. The sophomore in a foot race at midfield. Hacked from behind. Cardinals wanted a whistle. They won't get it. Instead, it's a ground ball to Purnell of Bedford. Short pass along the sideline frees up Natalie Denon. And then Denon runs into trouble along the boundary, but a whistle will keep it with Bedford as we head towards the 4-minute mark. First quarter tied at 2, and again, the home team with a chance to take their first lead.
Actually like that no call on that check in transition. I think Matthews is pretty clean. She checked away from the body, had a quick release. Those are the kind of things where, let them play, let the game flow.
Yeah. Yeah, I think in general, the less whistles, the better. And that was a good defensive effort. Meanwhile, speaking of defensive efforts, excellent job by Lynn. Able to get the ground ball across midfield to the 30 despite the best efforts of the Bedford defender, Kylie. Lynn, who I don't believe got the start, came off the bench. Just a couple of minutes in, has already made an impact here for BG. So the visitors now, again, with an opportunity to go back out in front here as we move towards 3 minutes first quarter.
We see a couple new players in the mix on the offensive end right now. Like you mentioned, Lynn, and then number 23, Sarah Brunel, has also entered the game.
Meanwhile, Redfern draws a whistle. Ran right into the stick of the senior defender, Libby Norris. Redfern up top. Lynn drops it off for Dumont, the freshman, now near side. I believe this is the first touch for Sarah Brunel, the midfielder. Now behind the cage, Campbell trying to make something happen. Being hounded by Barry. Now Barry's going to give her a little breathing room. They're going to clear it out. Campbell, a dance move, comes near side. Pass hindered, takes a bounce out in front. Slap backwards. Kukulakis is there. And Bishop Guertin hits the reset button.
Just need a little bit more poise there. You're going to get hit with pressure, and you just have to be able to pull it out, move the ball cleanly, because that easily could have been a turnover inside.
Redfern, shot and score. Well, that one caught everybody, I think, by surprise. Able to fire while moving to the left and get that one about as low as you can get it, down by the ankles of the goaltender. And that's going to put Bishop Guertin back out in front. That's Redford's second goal. That may have gone 5-hole as we get another look. Pretty shot here for the future Villanova Wildcat. We see on shots like that exactly why she was heavily recruited.
We've seen actually a bunch of different shots so far in this game. On that one, Redfern goes low to low, drops her stick. I like to see the variance from both teams here. I would say for the goaltenders right now, really hard to read what they're doing. The scout on either goaltender is not clear.
Seeing a few remarkable releases here on both teams. Just over 2 minutes to go in what's been a back and forth first quarter. With a good play on the wing by Matthews. Tapes it on the second bounce waist high, and now with a one-on-one opportunity deep on the near wing. Short pass instead for Kylie. Trying to draw out Lynn. Going to hit the gas, draw a slide up top. There's no shot available. Finds Muir instead. Bedford takes the clock under 2 minutes. We get a whistle here with $1:57 to go. And what do we have here, Kristen?
Cardinals are offsides, so they only had, looks like they had, can't tell if they had too many, it looks like they had too many over, yep.
Yeah, had 7 inside the 30. Lynn told to head to the sideline. Meanwhile, shot and score, it's Kylie. Able to somehow make something happen in a phone booth there. Crowded area out in front, got it off and got it in to tie the game at 3.
Kylie there really able to control her stick through traffic. You see she splits 2 defenders, is hit with another couple sticks, but still is able to keep that stick high. She really leverages that height. You see her bring that stick above the other players, and she's able to sneak it past Eder Linnell, who pretty sure is kicking herself for that one because she was almost on it.
Maddie Kylie, of course, from a Lacrosse family. Junior already committed to Bucknell and has given the Bulldogs an early distinct advantage here in the circle. After losing, I believe, the first, she has not lost since. Meanwhile, Lynn is going to take the draw here for Bishop Guertin for the first time. Ball gets some lift under it before, again, it's Matthews on it for Bedford.
Cardinals had to try something there in the circle after losing several consecutive draw controls. Has been a big advantage for Bedford.
Lynn with another takeaway. Excellent defensive play. Took it away from Matthews and then scooped it up herself. So Bishop Guertin causes the turnover near midfield, and now I'm going to slow it way down here as we tick towards a minute to go. Neither team has scored 2 consecutive goals in this first quarter. It's literally been Bishop Guertin Bedford, Bishop Guertin Bedford, Bishop Guertin Bedford. Cardinals okay with that trend continuing on this possession. Going to look to space it here as Campbell clears out, allows Redfern to do her thing, turns the corner, tough angle shot, and score. Wow. Almost, when I say tough angle, almost no angle there. Goal line extended, but somehow she gets it to work, and now Redfern already with an impressive goal total. The hat trick coming here in the final minute of the first quarter.
I actually like that shot from her a lot. I think she knew she had one step on her defender, and she's able to extend her stick enough where she gave herself a better angle than her foot position actually ended up being. But this seems to be a go-to for the Cardinals right now. They've set up that isolation behind a few times, and they just trust themselves as Dodgers that they can beat any defender 1v1.
4-3 BG. Bedford has won 6 of the 7. Cardinals, though, have 4 of the 7 goals on the scoreboard. Matthews gets the superior position there, got inside of Kukalakis to win it for Bedford. Meanwhile, this one out of bounds. It was a good overhead catch there by Bedford's Tegan Steele, the senior who will play for Union next year, but she was a couple of feet out of bounds. So, back-to-back turnovers for Bedford have given way to another BG chance here as the Cardinals look to capitalize in potentially the final 15 seconds.
You can win the draw control, but you have to be able to transition it cleanly into your offensive end for it to really matter.
Meanwhile, a turn and fire shot from Campbell goes off the pole. And then a turnover here with less than 2 seconds left is going to end the quarter. So, after 1 here in Bedford, it's the visitors with a 4-3 lead. BG off to a good start on the road. Bulldogs look for the counterpunch when we come back. You are watching our Friday Night Lights New Hampshire Game of the Week, presented by Beals Insurance.
Our broadcast today, as it always is brought to you by Beals Insurance Agency, with locations now in both Bedford and Londonderry. Whether you need home, auto, or business insurance, Beals Insurance will get you both the price and quality coverage that's right for you. Just call 603-471-9999 or visit BealsInsurance.com to request a free quote and start saving money today. Again, that's BealsInsurance.com.
4-3, Bishop Guertin. Second quarter coming up. You are watching our Friday Night Lights New Hampshire Game of the Week, presented by Beals Insurance. Nick Anastas, Kristen Cameron with you. Both these teams 8-2, with less than 3 weeks to go in the regular season. And, of course, longtime rivals, not just in lacrosse, but across multiple sports. And what did you think, Kristen, of that first quarter, as both attacks really got going early on?
I think this is a great matchup. One thing I'd like to see you just cleaned up across the board from both teams is those turnovers. I think we're not getting an entirely great look at either teams right now. They've been able to score, but would love to see, some of those turnovers in transition cleaned up, sticks protected, no stepping or passing out of bounds. I expect that was probably something that was discussed on both sidelines, both huddles between quarters.
All right. Bedford. They're going to, of course, switch ends here, so the Bulldogs will work right to left and keep Maddie Kiley in the face-off circle. She's had the advantage. And Abigail Lynn, who has made some pretty good individual plays, particularly on defense, is now asked to go ahead and take the draws as well. So it seems like first-year head coach Callie Santos putting a lot on the sophomore here in a big game.
I would say she's putting in that effort right now, too. A lot of her plays that we've seen her make are just hustle plays. So, that gets rewarded and that gets noticed.
Kiley wins it herself. Able to pull it in overhead, snatched it out of the air. And now misfires on a short pass to Steele. Out of bounds it goes, back to BG. May have been another one of those routine plays that ended up as a mistake.
Yeah, that might be 3 draw controls in a row with a quick turnover from the Bulldogs. That's exactly the kind of thing that you want to clean up because every possession is going to matter here.
Cardinals look for back-to-back goals for the first time here in this first half. Neither team is led by more than one. Campbell, a goal and an assist. Looks for another dime here, trying to find a cutting Schmidt, but the pass is off target and intercepted. Matthews down the middle, draws the crowd, flicks it to her right. Kiley, in stride, is going to bring it inside the 30. And now shore-handedly fires over to Steele, who was goal line extended. Closed out here quickly by Haley LeBlanc, the senior on her way to Quinnipiac. And these two playing cat and mouse. Back on the near side of the wing. Up top, rather, to the far side. Kiley looking for a little room to operate. Finds Muir. Back over to Kiley.
One of the changes that you can see that the Cardinals made defensively is number 6, Jordan Gable, is now face guarding number 2, Olivia Matthews. So they're really trying to eliminate her from the play and force the Bulldogs to go with some of their number 2 options.
Pretty good defense here. Kukudlaitis riding Kiley, popped it out, and then the official blows the whistle. Gives it back to Bedford. It's been a fun matchup to watch there. Muir, little jab step, but no shooting lane available. As Lynn keeps her in front. Up top again for Muir, cycled around to Maddie.
You can see Matthews trying to get open on the inside, working with Purnell right there.
Shot and save. A pretty good cut there for Purnell in the right spot, but this time it's Eder Linnell read it the whole way for her first big save here of the first half.
That can be one of the disadvantages of face guarding, actually, is because the attackers know that you're not going to slide off that player. You do want to use them to screen because exactly what Purnell did right there. She was able to get open because, she knew that Gable wasn't going to slide off of Matthews.
That's the game plan, right? Shut off, quote-unquote, Matthews, or at least try to. We saw Olivia score on a beautiful shot back in the first quarter, but they have, by and large, kept it out of her hands. Meanwhile, shot, that won't get through. Redfern in a sea of white. It ends up with Schmidt for Bishop Guertin. Again, the Cardinals will take their time with the diagnosis. 3 minutes gone by, second quarter. Neither team has scored yet in this frame. Cardinals hoping to change that, looking for their first 2-goal advantage of the night. Kuchelakis behind the cage. Now Campbell, who's been behind the net a lot tonight. Turns on the gas near side, defender right on her. Pretty good effort by, again, Makita Berry, sophomore rising to the occasion tonight. Lengthy possession for BG. Here's Redfern, and took a pretty good shot upstairs from Berry.
think that was Libby Norris for Bedford. She's been playing very physical defense. She's so close to not getting called. It's just you can't extend those arms, but keep that body position, keep up that physicality, and she's going to see success.
Kuchelakis pushed out, little scoop pass. Schmidt, nowhere to go. Muir, good defensive effort. Bulldogs continuing to chat defensively. And again, it's Norris who's whistled here.
Just a little bit too much. There are two things that the refs are looking for there on defense. Looking for that horizontal stick, that's going to be a call every time, and then that extension of the arms. And if you do both, you're potentially in yellow card territory.
It's a fine line for sure. But both defenses have tightened things up, it seems. We're nearly 5 minutes in second quarter. Still a 4-3 lead, which was our score after the first. Schmidt for a pick, goes right, going to fire on the run and score. Cam Schmidt, a very good all-around player, as we know, showing you what she can do with the shot there. Beats Grace Stewart upstairs, and Bishop Guertin has opened up for the first time a 2-goal lead, 5-3.
So we saw the Cardinals earlier in the game really trying to lean on their 1v1s, especially from X. Now we see them work a little bit of a two-man game. Kuchelakis sets an excellent pick. She was even open there. You can see her calling for the ball, but Schmidt had that shot and released with some power.
Cam Schmidt, the senior, on her way to Bucknell. Eventually going to team up with Maddie Kiley a few years from now. This one's straight up in the air. Both players looking skyward. Ultimately, again, it's Kiley who continues to carve out an advantage for her team in the face-off circle. That's going to lead to our first time out as Coach Hodgson wants to talk it over. Our broadcast is brought to you by Beals Insurance. Locations in both Bedford and Londonderry. Whether you need home, auto, or business insurance, Beals Insurance will get you the price and quality coverage that's right for you. Visit BealsInsurance.com. Also by MG Sports Fundraising. That's fundraising made easy. MG Sports Fundraising is the official fundraising partner of Friday Night Lights New Hampshire. Visit MGSportsFundraising.com. Start raising money for your team today. And finally, by the New Hampshire Tomahawks. Showcase and development for college lacrosse. Visit NHTomahawks.com and also girls.NHTomahawks.com. Nick and Astis, Kristen Cameron with you in our Friday Night Lights New Hampshire Game of the Week, presented by Beals Insurance. Of course, we're right back at it tomorrow night in the Queen City. On the boys' side, a huge Division II matchup between undefeated Portsmouth and defending champion Derryfield. We get going live from the Derryfield School a few minutes ahead of that 6 o'clock face-off. So Portsmouth and Derryfield, the wait is over tomorrow night on Friday Night Lights New Hampshire. Big week statewide on both sides. This is that time of year, as you said, where some of the contenders start to pull away from the pack. It's, in this case, Girls Division I, seemingly a 5-team race with, 5 teams separated by just a couple of games. Bedford, Bishop Guertin, Portsmouth, Pinkerton, and Souhegan. But what changes? As a player, as a coach, how do you approach the second half of the year heading into the tournament different from the preseason and the first 5 weeks of the schedule?
Right now, I would say the focus shifts to how can we play best together as a team. I think earlier in the season, it's about, getting that rust off, flexing those individual skills. Now it's about who can play the best team lacrosse, because it takes an entire team to win this game. I'm really impressed actually with Bedford today. I had thought that they'd be more reliant on Matthews as a one-woman show, but they're actually, other players are getting involved. They're moving the ball well, and I think that's something that's definitely developed for them throughout the season.
Bedford started 7-0. Lost a hard-fought battle against Portsmouth in a championship game rematch from a year ago. And then took another L out of state before rebounding with a big win over Salem. They're going to rebound here with a big goal out of the timeout as Megan Muir, despite limited shooting space there, was able to pull it off in a crowd to draw Bedford back within a goal at the midway point of the second quarter.
Muir is one of those players who has just developed so much over the last couple years, and especially this season. I think you can just tell she's leveled up her stick work. She's able to control the ball so well there through traffic. She's one of the most athletic players on the field. She can run for days. She's very physical on defense, but we've really seen her develop her offensive side of the game, and they can really rely on her.
Was that something Coach Hodgson drew up during the timeout?
I don't know about that play in particular, but I think more emphasis on ball movement, especially if they're going to try to lock off a little bit more. The best thing you can do is move the ball, catch the defense off guard. I think that timeout, though, they needed that after they just evaded another turnover after the draw, and so that was hey, calm down, we need this possession.
And dare I use the word run, but BG was on a 2-goal run at the time of the timeout as well. And given that that's been the only multi-goal streak of this first half, I'd say you could use the word run in this context. Meanwhile, Bedford, they're on a run at the face-off circle as Maddie Kiley and company able to reel it in. Natalie Denon, the senior, finally gives it up. Now Muir with plenty of room to work. Bedford hoping to come up with the right strategy here to tie the game. Heading towards 5 minutes to go until halftime. Saw 3 ties at 3 different points in that first quarter. Denon trying to shake off LeBlanc. And LeBlanc a little too physical on the closeout. Denon up top. Kiley shot won't get through. And the trail official, James Wong, is going to blow Gary Wong is going to blow the whistle and have a word with his counterpart.
The refs are going to talk about this because it's what did Kiley hit? Did she hit a player with the ball? If so, yep, she's going to get sent off with a yellow card for a dangerous propel.
Now, can't the player argue that it was accidental?
It doesn't matter in this
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. If you get a body in front of the ball. Let's watch this replay right here and see what exactly she hits. Looks like she could have shot into number 13, Taylor Gabord, but again, really, really hard to read.
Gabord, the senior from Colgate, was in the shooting lane. So the officials are going to give it to BG. Bedford's going to back off. No ride here. It allows Kucherlakis to go full speed. Nice job by the senior. That brings us to 5 minutes to go, second quarter. Bishop Guertin with a 5-4 lead. They have not trailed in this first half, looking to match their largest lead with a goal here. Good catch. Redfern bodied up there. Immediately collided with the sophomore Barry.
Bulldogs, they've tightened up their defense on Redfern a ton. You could see them, really hovering her, hesitant to slide off. Because they know she's a threat. Anytime with the ball or off ball, she's a threat.
Redford tried to find the cutting Skylar Naftali back door. Right idea. But that pass does, in the end up out of bounds. So Bedford, after allowing 3 Redfern goals in that first quarter, they've, you're right, clamped down a bit better so far in this second quarter on the future Villanova Wildcat. Meanwhile, Matthews battling with Campbell, 2 stars there on that far sideline. Bulldogs hoping to avoid a double team with a short pass, but in the end, Matthews runs out of real estate. The officials, though, blew the whistle first. Now a long pass from Matthews goes overhead of Muir. Scooped up. Good ground ball tracked there by Sydney Brophy, the sophomore. Brophy, surrounded by 3 defenders, does get the benefit of the whistle. Told to back up to the 40, and we resume with BG in possession. 3.5 to go, second quarter.
A sloppy minute for both teams. Hopefully they can reset right now. That happens in a close game. You're trying to move so fast, thinking about the next play rather than focusing on the one that you're currently in.
Campbell, Redfern. There's the cutting Schmidt, and she's got it. Shot and score for the senior, his second goal of this second quarter. Well, a well-oiled machine there. Cardinal attack in sync, and a little tic-tac-toe. They find the weak spot and cash in. Redfern with the assist as we get another look.
Beautiful play. Those two have such a great connection. Again, Redford and Schmidt, both from Bedford, playing for the Cardinals. That's the thing with Redford is you can try and play her really tough with the ball, but she's a feeder too. So you always have to be on her stick. Even if she looks like she's not a scoring threat, she's definitely a passing threat. That's one thing I'd look to clean up for the Cardinals.
A nice cut as well there by Schmidt. So, back to a 2-goal difference. 6-4 BG. Just over 3 minutes to go until halftime. Coming up at halftime, a look back at the first half. Stats, highlights, analysis. We'll see if we can track down a few scores on a busy Wednesday night. And, of course, a look ahead to tomorrow's matchup on the boys' side between Portsmouth and Derryfield. That's all coming up at halftime.
Another redraw. Ball didn't go above the shoulder. They changed that rule at the college level. They don't redraw anymore. They just go alternate possession. It keeps the game moving a lot faster.
Alternate possession on any violation or just that particular violation?
Not on, just in the draw circle. If they can't assign fault to either team, they'll just go AP.
Would that be better in your opinion at the high school level?
Oh yeah, you see what this does? It slows the game down. I don't think it's very fun. So yeah, I'd be in favor of that rule change, which high school seems to be following, a year or two behind changes at the college level.
Meanwhile, Kucherlakis in a crowd, somehow able to maintain possession before the whistle came. And a quick restart. We'll get it over midfield for Lynn. Lynn down the middle. Sophomore has played well in this first half. Cardinals look for another here. Looking for their first 3-goal lead of the night. Spin move, lefty shot, and score. It's Skylar Naftali, the senior, showing some good footwork, switched hands, and made it happen for goal number 7. As BG now opens up a 7-4 lead.
That Naftali goal scored off the rollback is the third goal for the Cardinals that I've seen where they're able to catch the Bulldogs off guard with that rollback, that change of direction, just not ready for it. It's been very effective. And that's a depth goal right there for the Cardinals. That's not someone who's one of your top scorers, but you can see the number 4, 5, 6 attackers, they are all able to contribute and carry their own.
Yeah, leading the way has been Redfern with the 3 goals, but balance right behind her. Schmidt with 2, Campbell, and now Naftali on that list as well. Bedford, they've had balance. Matthews scored the opener. We saw Megan Muir and Maddie Kiley get in the action in the first quarter. And Muir's second for Bedford came earlier in this second quarter. Meanwhile, a quick outlet. We're going to spark the BG break. Schmidt, good effort from behind by Purnell. Schmidt going to zigzag a bit and come near side as we move inside of 2 minutes. Cardinals find safety, and Campbell is going to jog behind the net.
That was actually Skylar Naftali with that clear, leveraging her speed in the midfield. Not only did she score that nice goal, but she was ready in transition.
Final 95 seconds. Redfern going to switch spots with Campbell. Campbell now on the wing. They're going to switch defensively. Force a tough pass. It's controlled by Lynn. Shot goes wide. Good hustle behind the net by Brunel. Bishop Guertin will keep it.
BG's not afraid to take those risks and feed it to the inside. So as Bedford, you have to just be ready all the time.
The defender, Barry, I think, got a piece of the pass. In the cage for the home team is now a new goaltender. It's the sophomore Irene Sy. who just took over a moment ago for Grace Stewart. So I think that's a save for Cy, officially.
Yeah, and they called that one on Campbell. If you hit the goalie in the helmet, that's a foul. They set Campbell up behind the crease on that one. That's a rule only at the high school level.
Meanwhile, another whistle on the offensive end for Bedford. Gets a free restart up top, and now Kylie trying to find some room on the far side wing. Going to jog behind the cage. Clock now down to 30 seconds. The defender is Schmidt. Goaltender flirting with coming out. Meanwhile, this one off the post. Rattles the cage. Ground ball goes to Matthews. Matthews going to free herself up. Goes up top. Draws a slide. Going to backpedal. Gets rid of it. Purnell on the move. Lynn pokes it loose. We get a delayed whistle. It comes in the closing seconds. They're going to freeze the clock with 2.5 to go. So 2.5 seconds. Certainly enough time for a shot. Audrey Purnell from up top. The senior committed to Anderson College down in South Carolina goes wide, and that will bring us to halftime. A back and forth first quarter turns into a bit of an offensive display for Bishop Guertin in that second quarter as they lead by their largest margin at the break. 7-4 Cardinals here in Bedford. Both teams, of course, expected to make adjustments. What did you think of the first 24 minutes?
I thought it was a really competitive first half. Bedford is owning the draw circle. I mean, they're absolutely dominant there right now, but yet even with possession, they're not yet able to figure out what to do with Matthews face guarded. The Cardinals have really taken her out of the play, and it's shown, especially in that second quarter.
Great job by Jordan Gable, who has drawn that assignment, the junior defender for Bishop Guertin. All right, we'll take a break. Back in a few minutes, we have an abbreviated halftime here due to the late start, so do not go anywhere. We're about 5 minutes away from the start of the third quarter. Bishop Guertin on top of Bedford, 7-4 at halftime. You're watching our Friday Night Lights New Hampshire Game of the Week, presented by Beals Insurance.
Our broadcast today, as it always is brought to you by Beals Insurance Agency, with locations now in both Bedford and Londonderry. Whether you need home, auto, or business insurance, Beals Insurance will get you both the price and quality coverage that's right for you. Just call 603-471-9999 or visit BealsInsurance.com to request a free quote and start saving money today. Again, that's BealsInsurance.com. The New Hampshire Tomahawks promote the highest level of club lacrosse competition, not just in the state, but in the country. Looking to get recruited? Director Chris Cameron keeps an open dialogue with the nation's top college lacrosse coaches. Over 400 New Hampshire Tomahawks alumni have played at the college level, including the ACC, Big East, Big Ten, Ivy, NESCAC, NE10, and more. New Hampshire Tomahawks coaching staff has over 100 coaches, including current high school, varsity, and college coaches. The Tomahawks offer training for players of all ages, clinics, camps, and leagues, along with spring, summer, and fall elite teams. So play with the best. The New Hampshire Tomahawks, showcase and development for college lacrosse. Visit NewHampshireTomahawks.com and girls.nhtomahawks.com. How can you reach your team's fundraising goals at no risk and no cost? MG Sports offers a variety of products to make your team's fundraiser a success. Their products include tickets and discount cards to hundreds of local businesses. MG Sports now has a digital platform where athletes can raise funds in the comfort and safety of their own home. So become another lacrosse program like Bedford, Goffstown, or Memorial that sets fundraising records every season. MG Sports, fundraising made easy. Visit mgsportsfundraising.com to start raising money for your team today.
Well, halftime here in Bedford. Start of the third quarter, I should say. Nick Anastas. Kristen Cameron, who was now donning a jacket as predicted. A 7-4 Bishop Guertin lead at halftime. This one back and forth out of the gate. Lauren Redfern, just seconds in, 32 to be exact, put the visitors on the board. 1-0, first of 3 first half goals for Redfern. Olivia Matthews, though, just a couple of minutes later for Bedford, tied it at 1. Anna Campbell on a free position shot gave BG the advantage again about midway through that first quarter, 2-1 at that point. Again, Bedford, less than 30 seconds later, had the answer. Megan Muir, the senior, tied the game at 2. BG again goes on top. Redfern, her second, just outside of 2 minutes to go in that first quarter. Bedford's Maddie Kiley, who had a great first half in the face-off draw circle, tied the game, showing some offense in the final 2 minutes of the first quarter, tying the game at 3. Redfern again had the hat trick in that first quarter, scored with 48 seconds remaining, and that was our score after 1, 4-3 BG. Then 5-3 BG as Cameron Schmidt came to play in that second quarter. But the first 5 minutes of the second quarter were scoreless as seemingly the defense has tightened some things up. So 5-3 BG at that point. Bedford got their fourth on a second Megan Muir goal at exactly the midway point. But BG has the last laugh as they score the last 2 before halftime. Schmidt her second. And then Skylar Naftali scores her lone goal with just outside of 2 minutes to go. So here we are, 7-4 early third quarter. BG has it again. We are under the lights now here at Bulldog Stadium. Both teams, of course, 8-2 in the regular season.
Kiley was unstoppable in the draw circle in that first half, and that made all the difference. She was able to get Bedford those possessions, and then she really stepped it up too offensively, getting in the mix there as a shooter and feeder. But I think we see BG come up with the first draw control of the half. I'm sure that was a big focus for them.
And meanwhile, Naftali able to cash in. The BG senior gets her second, and BG collectively gets their second free position goal as Naftali able to beat the goaltender, who again is now the second netminder tonight to see action.
Naftali was really fast off that line there. She took a few powerful steps and then was able to get it past the goaltender, who, again, the Bedford is sticking with Irene Sy.
Yeah, the sophomore came in late in the second quarter, replacing starter Grace Stewart. All right, so this was the original matchup we saw in the circle. Anna Campbell, the senior, against Maddie Kiley, the junior. Kiley has taken every draw for Bedford so far tonight.
Same matchup in the circle. We're seeing a little bit of a different setup off the circle. So you can see, not on camera right now, but Matthews and Kuchalakis are battling it out for that position, and they're really looking for their circle players.
Meanwhile, another ground ball gobbled up by the sophomore Lynn, who has been impressive. Hooks up with Lola Dumont, the freshman. Going to come to a stop on that far side. I'm sorry, that was Redfern, not Dumont. And now again, BG threatening to really start piling it on here. They've doubled up Bedford at this point, 8-4. They've scored 3 in a row dating back to late in the second quarter, and are threatening to build a 5-goal lead here. Redfern looks for the screen. It's jumped out on by Norris. Good defensive effort by the Bedford senior. Cardinals will try their luck on this side. Schmidt coming downhill, trying to shake her way past Purnell, but good defensive effort. Forces her back out.
This is an important point in the game because you don't want to slow down that intensity. You may have Bedford doubled up, but it's actually time to double down on offense and take this lead as far as you can go. Like I see, some teams get into trouble here because they start to slow it down way too early. But, with almost half a game left to go and the draw trouble that the Cardinals have had, this is where, I'd go full steam ahead on offense still.
Been a very patient possession. Already 2.5 minutes gone by third quarter. Campbell trying to lure the defender out. That's the sophomore, Makita Berry. Spin move on Berry. Here comes Matthews on the double. Pass on target. Naftali swallowed up, stopped by Sy. Sophomore makes an over-the-head save, and that's got the Bedford student section fired up. A good crowd here tonight at Bulldog Stadium. This pass, I believe, was tipped. Didn't matter as Muir picks it up off the bounce. Finds Purnell on a diagonal pass. Purnell keeping the stick out in front. Wins the foot race against Naftali. Pass along the sideline, eventually pulled in by Natalie Denon. And now 3 minutes in, Bedford, I believe for the first time in the second half now, with a chance on the attack side.
Their first offensive possession and an important one. You have to claw your way back into this game, 1 goal at a time.
Kylie goes middle, bouncer, not happening. Beautiful save, Eder Linnell. Kept inbounds, deep behind the cage. Matthews wants a one-on-one. Comes near side, shot, no, but she's knocked down in the process, and Gary Wong is going to pull the flag.
That was an almost great defensive play, but again, it's that horizontal stick, that extension from Gable, and I think the push largely came after the shot too. That's going to get called every time.
The junior Jordan Gable, committed to Iona, did a good job bottling up Matthews, who did have the 1 goal in the first quarter, is going to double her total here with a bouncer. Beats Eder Linnell to her right, squeezes it inside that far pole, and gets Bedford the goal that they were looking for. Matthews, 2 goals in the sheet tonight. Bedford back within shouting distance at 8-5 with just over 4 minutes gone by third quarter. Typically,
that hash is not one a lot of players would be excited about, but Matthews, the strong lefty, that's a no-brainer for her. She's going to take that shot every time.
So 8-5. And again, it's Campbell against Matthews this time. Bedford is going to have Matthews take the draw for the first time as Kylie swaps spots with the senior and is now on the wing. Is this an effort by Coach Hodgson to maybe get the ball directly into the stick of Matthews?
I think it was just Kylie wasn't hot anymore. She lost the first 2 of the half, and every possession matters for the Bulldogs, especially, they were able to get one back, but they just need the ball. And so you got to try something different if you're going to lose 2 in a row.
That was after a tremendous performance in that first half from Kylie. Unofficially, I think 10 out of 13. Sound right?
Sounds about right.
All right, BG. They're again in no hurry. Now Redfern does get the one-on-one she wants. Here comes the draw. Matthews coming over. Somehow a split dodge occurs. Shot, though, again stopped by the sophomore. And that's got everybody fired up from the fans, the parents, and the bench. Trying to clear it against this BG ride is a different story as this pass is too high, goes out of bounds, turned back over to the Cardinals. Now with 5 minutes gone by, third quarter. This BG ride quietly has made a bit of a difference as well.
It has. They've been putting in that effort there. I also think they're exposing, some of that lack of defensive depth on Bedford. While they're locking it down, you can see a difference in their stick work and their overall skill level just being exposed a little bit there.
Up top, Dumont draws a slide. Purnell recovers one-on-one. Freshman reverses course, pulls it out, now gives it up. Campbell. Goal line extended, going to go deep behind the cage instead. It's Marcella Tomasello, the Limestone commit.
One of the changes that the Bulldogs have made defensively is they're sending that second slide a little bit earlier and then committing to the double and hoping to force turnovers there. That's, down a few goals in a very competitive game. I like that change. I like to see them getting more aggressive.
Midway through third quarter. Schmidt, shot, score. Number 3. However, a couple of quick whistles. I thought The official was going to weigh in. Instead, the goal will stand. BG rebuilds the 4-goal lead at 9-5.
You can see Schmidt showing her versatility there. This time she splits right to left and is able to still get a really strong release off with that left hand, almost shooting off of her back foot. Sigh in goal there. You could see the frustration because she was right there. It wasn't a very well placed shot, but it was hard enough to get past Sigh.
So Schmidt, 3 goals for Bishop Guertin Redfern. 3 goals for BG all in that first quarter. Matthews and Muir, 2 apiece for Bedford so far. Inside of 6 minutes to go in the frame. Skies continuing to darken. The lights are on and becoming more and more necessary. This one up in the air. Matthews tips it to herself. It's a key Bedford win there. So they look to get back within 3 on this trip. Cardinals communicating. Bedford going to run a 2-player game here with Kylie in control. The junior looks for a screen, comes middle. Kuchelakis is not having it. Right on her. No whistle.
They're going to get LeBlanc for 3 seconds. So inside that 8-meter arc, that critical scoring area, you can't just hang out if you're not within a stick's length of your opponent.
So illegal defense will allow Kylie to toe the line from straight away. Shooting option not there. Muir back to Kylie. Inside of 5 minutes, third quarter. Matthews wants the one-on-one. Bedford's leading scorer on the season. Looks to get past the junior Gable. Gable poked it loose, but right in front of the official, Gary Wong, who says it stays with Bedford.
Yeah, that was just a discipline play. She almost had it, but that empty stick check is what's going to give Matthews possession back.
The senior doesn't even think about the shot. Instead, tosses it over to Kylie, and now 2 players behind the net for Bedford. Kylie in possession. Laid off by the defender. Kukalakis comes near side. Met by Kukalakis with a bump. Comes middle, draws 2 slides. And again, we have a violation.
I thought that was actually pretty solid defense. I didn't see much there. Let's watch the replay and see if we can see Kuchelakis with a horizontal stick at all. Yeah, maybe a little bit of a shove at the end toward the back, but
Kylie going to fire and score. A sweeping shot goes below the knee. And Maddie Kylie, who's been asked to do a little bit of everything here for Bedford, including score. Her second goal brings Bedford back within 3 at 9-6.
She's been excellent for Bedford today, like you just said, Nick. She's able to score, transition the ball, and has been really solid in the draw circle. Although they're putting her on the wing now, she's still been a meaningful contributor.
So it's a 3-goal game again, which was our halftime deficit. Now inside of 4 minutes remaining in this third quarter. Both teams trying to elbow each other at the top of the D1 standings. Of course, it's a crowded Division I standings with the likes of Portsmouth, Pinkerton, Souhegan in that mix. But as you said, now we're, less than 4 weeks away, closer to 3 at this point, to the state tournament. And as you put it earlier, you're looking for these teams to play well together. And I think both teams at times tonight have done that.
It's challenging, in New Hampshire lacrosse. We're starting to see much more balanced teams, but for a while we've seen those few stars and then, a lot of players play supporting roles. I think both of these teams are showing how well-rounded they are, as are, all of those, 5 teams that you mentioned leading the race in Division I.
And the winner will leave here tonight 9-2 in pretty good shape. Of course, Bedford, they've got another out-of-town game coming up just 2 days from now, Friday at Central Catholic down in Massachusetts. And both teams really accustomed to challenging themselves with that out-of-state portion of the schedule at this point.
Cardinals earlier in the season, just a couple weeks ago, suffered a pretty big loss to Notre Dame Academy, and it looks to me like they got better from that. They didn't score many goals. They honestly got beat up on. But that's the kind of game that I think can be season defining for you. You either let it break you, or in this case, I think they got a lot better.
Here's a turnover. Barry, the sophomore, goes nearly the length of the field after picking up the ground ball, clears it for Bedford. And the Bulldogs hoping to trim this thing back to 2, the closest they've been since halftime, as we move towards the 2-minute mark, third quarter. Kylie calls for it, gets it. Wants a one-on-one with Lynn. Lynn gives her room. Shake and bake, left side, draws the slide. Muir, jab step on the catch, but no shot. Back over to Kylie, and now here's Matthews. Oh, so dangerous. This has been the matchup to watch. Gable, the defender, trying to keep up. Matthews steps between, looked like 3 defenders before the whistle finally comes, and now we may get to see that rocket of a shot here on a free position opportunity. Final 100 seconds, third quarter. The James Madison commit lets it fly. It goes over the shoulder of Eder Linnell. Matthews has got the hat trick, and we've got ourselves a 2-goal game again at 9-7.
Matthews at center hash on a free position is probably Eder Linnell's worst nightmare. I mean, that is exactly where you do not want to set her up, because she can release that ball so quickly, so hard. And I think she scores that goal 9.9 out of 10 times.
Got a timeout on the field. Our broadcast brought to you by Beals Insurance. Locations in both Bedford and Londonderry. Whether you need home, auto, or business insurance, Beals Insurance will get you the price and quality coverage that's right for you. Visit BealsInsurance.com. Also, by MG Sports Fundraising. That's fundraising made easy. MG Sports Fundraising is the official fundraising partner of Friday Night Lights New Hampshire. Visit mgsportsfundraising.com. Start raising money for your team today. And finally, by the New Hampshire Tomahawks Showcase and Development for College Lacrosse. Visit nhtomahawks.com and also girls.nhtomahawks.com. Nick Anastas, Kristen Cameron with you. Having fun? Week 5, I believe, statewide. Just past the midway point of the regular season schedule. 2 teams, both 8-2 in Division 1. Bishop Guertin has never trailed here on the road tonight. Builds up a 4-3 lead after 1, 7-4 at the break. Led by as many as 4 a moment ago at 9-5, but the last 2 have gone to Bedford. And here we are, Kristen, with 95 seconds to go in the third quarter. And it seems like Bishop Guertin now the team that needs to respond despite the 2-goal lead on the scoreboard.
Bedford has started to figure it out. I think they really, in the last 10-plus minutes have leaned into that 2-man game and figured out what's working, especially trying to get Kylie and Matthews working together. Cardinals need to draw control here. We've seen possession kind of flip-flop. BG had the ball earlier in the quarter. Bedford's dominated possession in the last few minutes. So, as with every draw control, but this one especially, it's really important.
Kylie had the dominant advantage for Bedford in the first half, but as you mentioned, it's been closer to 50-50 in this third quarter. This one up for grabs. Well, look out. A hard tumble. And I believe we've got a player down here for Bishop Guertin. That's Campbell, who may have banged her head a bit. Don't want to speculate, but it looked like she went down on her back at full speed and may have hit the turf pretty hard. Gets a round of applause. It's tough as nails, as we know. We spoke with her last night. That interview is up on our YouTube channel, part of our weekly show, FNL Lacrosse, presented by the New Hampshire Tomahawks. We get another look there. As you can see, she was down.
Glad to see her getting back up, walking off the field on her own. Yeah, tough fall like that. Hopefully she can, reset. She'll chat with the trainer on the sideline.
All right, so BG, as we head towards the final minute, third quarter. Going to get the safety on the far side. A good effort there by Taylor Gabord. Senior on her way to Colgate. And a chant of "Let's go defense" coming from some of the youngsters on hand here at Bulldog Stadium.
I love to see it. Bedford is one of the towns that has an amazing youth feeder program, and you can see that youth support here for this excellent Bulldogs team.
They have one of the stronger crowd presence as well across all sports. Formidable place to play here at Bulldog Stadium. At BG, they've been up to the task on the road. Hoping to get some breathing room here in the final 30 seconds. Staying patient is Lynn, the sophomore. Gets rid of it, Naftali. Room to operate, wants a one-on-one. Going to spin to her left. Draws a half a slide. That's enough for Lynn to take advantage, but didn't get it off cleanly. Now a ground ball in the corner is going to lead to a foot race, and look out. Redfern goes down, lost her stick. The official, Gary Wong, is going to pull out the flag. The clock is going to stop with just inside of 7 seconds. Enough time for BG to run something here. They're going to stack 5 players on the near side wing. Redfern going to go one-on-one. Comes middle, sweeping shot, not happening. Sasai, who makes her 4th save. And that'll bring us to the end of the third quarter. Anybody's guess as we go to the fourth. 9-7, Bishop Guertin. Will they hang on for the wire-to-wire win, or does Bedford come back on their home turf? We find out next. You are watching our Friday Night Lights New Hampshire Game of the Week, presented by Beals Insurance.
Our broadcast today, as it always is brought to you by Beals Insurance Agency, with locations now in both Bedford and Londonderry. Whether you need home, auto, or business insurance, Beals Insurance will get you both the price and quality coverage that's right for you. Just call 603-471-9999 or visit BealsInsurance.com to request a free quote and start saving money today. Again, that's BealsInsurance.com.
All right, back here in Bedford for the start of the fourth quarter. Nick Anastas, Kristen Cameron, BG with a 9-7 lead over Bedford in our Friday Night Lights New Hampshire Game of the Week. Presented by Beals Insurance. This one's been fun. 2 teams, both 8-2. Both teams year in and year out on the short list of contenders in Division I. Cardinals, first year under head coach Callie Santos, hoping to get back ultimately, obviously, to the promised land after they brought home titles under Leslie Y in 18, 19, 21, and 22. Of course, the gap was not their fault. There was no season in 2020 due to the COVID-19 situation. Bedford, under longtime head coach Christine Hodgson, looking for back-to-back championships after the Bulldogs took home the bacon, or brought home the bacon, last year with a win over Portsmouth in the final. So these two teams very familiar with each other, accustomed to success. And buckle up here for the final 12 minutes because this one could go either way.
Speaking of the championship Bulldog team last year, we saw 2 alums battle it out for the Ivy League championship in Regan O'Brien and Sydney Grogan this past weekend, which resulted in Grogan and the Yale Bulldogs winning in double overtime. Grogan was a critical piece of that double OT win.
Yeah, she was a special player for Bedford. Not just on the lacrosse field, but was the point guard on the basketball team that had plenty of success under head coach Kevin Gibbs. And, well, I'm not surprised at the kind of season she's had with Yale, seemingly picking up where she left off at the NCAA level. All right, BG. As you said off air, Kristen, the draws, which heavily favored Bedford in the first half, have evened up here in the third quarter, and perhaps that one in particular key to getting the fourth quarter off on the right foot if you're the Cardinals.
Yeah, the change in draw controls, whatever Cardinals have been doing, has been huge. But the biggest difference that we've seen in the second half is goaltender for Bedford, Irene Tsai, has been huge in cage.
However, the clear game has been tough as Bedford turns it over in their own end again against this BG ride. So the Cardinals right back to business with just over a minute gone by, fourth quarter.
Those turnovers have been plaguing the Bulldogs all game, seemingly unforced. That's really tough to give this high-powered Cardinal offense the ball back, especially down 2 goals in the fourth quarter.
To her right is the freshman Dumont. Not happening. Tsai again waves the wand. Up top, Redfern. Tsai's there again. This one loose. Gary Wong's going to blow the whistle and give this to Bedford. Back-to-back stops by the sophomore Irene Tsai, who got the green light to come into the game about midway through the second quarter and has been lights out really since. 2 consecutive saves there. Gets pipe on it and then stops Redfern from straight away. Meanwhile, Megan Muir looks at Gary Wong questionably. The official is going to keep it with Bedford. Pulls out a green card and tells Redfern to get behind Muir.
That green card, if you foul in this transition game, you have to back off the player before redefending right away. And so that's just a warning to let her know. Give them space. They'll reset her behind Muir.
Muir spin move. Beautiful. Splits 2 defenders and ultimately finds Norris on the run. Norris across the 30, fans it to her right at Kylie. Kylie looks over her right shoulder at Coach Hodgson, who's got something in mind here with 2.5 gone by. Bedford hoping to cut the lead in half here on this trip. Tegan Steele, the senior. Couple of jab steps. Hooks up with Denon. Denon from straight away. Wants a piece of the defender, LeBlanc. LeBlanc going to close out cautiously and poke it loose. Thought she had it. Instead, Denon snatches it back, gets a whistle, and Bedford restarts on the far wing. Now Denon wades into the waters, draws a crowd, and draws a whistle.
That's another whistle I would have liked to see held. It seems like Denon ran through traffic, rather than sticks intentionally coming into the sphere.
Denon, eye on the cage, gets a bouncer, and we've got a 1-goal game. The free position shot pays off. Natalie Denon, the senior, working hard tonight, gets rewarded with a goal. Bedford has now strung together 3 straight. It's their longest run of the night. And with 3.5 gone by, it's a 1-goal game again for the first time since early in the second quarter.
Bedford seems to have figured out Eder Linnell, and that shooting low on her has been effective for the last few shots. Denon coming up with a big play in crunch time.
So 9-8. Free position shots have factored in both ways. But it comes up big at a big spot for Bedford there.
See another new draw taker now for the Bulldogs, putting Megan Muir in the circle and against Abby Lynn for the Cardinals.
It was Kylie exclusively for Bedford in the first half. We saw Matthews step in for a moment in the third quarter. And now Coach Hodgson is going to lean on the senior Megan Muir. Muir, 2 goals in that first half on attack for Bedford.
Good to see Anna Campbell back out there for the Cardinals.
Well, Kylie makes it look easy. Pulled it in with one hand from high overhead. Her pass for Denon, though, is too strong and turned over to BG. Well, I think Kylie may have known that one was an errant pass. As soon as she released it, she kind of looked skyward in frustration.
Yeah, you could see Denon was trying to catch it almost off body, didn't have great position there to make that play.
So it stays 9-8. We've played now 4 minutes, fourth quarter. Jordan Gable's pass is errant. Gets away from Lindsay Rodel. Junior on her way to Muhlenberg. Couldn't find it. So Bedford with it again. Meanwhile, Dinnan is pushed out of bounds at midfield. Coach Gary Wong, the official, says, no, let's restart it. Meanwhile, Redfern is hit with a yellow card.
It looks like he pulled out a green and a yellow card. I think that might have been a second green for her, which is going to send her off the field. Because I didn't see anything that warranted a yellow card there. I think it was just that Denon was out of bounds. They didn't give her that room, let her come onto the field. They approached right away, which is a similar violation to what we saw Redfern commit earlier.
So Redfern is out for the moment. Having a word with the coaching staff on the Bishop Guertin sideline. Bedford are going to restart. Purnell draws a double team, finds Matthews, who squeezes her way inside the 30. And now the Bulldogs, after trailing by as many as 4 earlier in the third quarter, they got a chance to tie the game with nearly 5 minutes gone by in this fourth quarter. Kylie given plenty of room here. Now Matthews with it. Coming middle. The senior with a hat trick tonight. Short pass. Purnell let it go low. And not happening. This is Eder Linnell. The Sacred Heart commit. She's got 4 pretty good saves of her own tonight. None bigger than the one there that keeps it a 1-goal game.
Bulldogs had a really big opportunity there being a player up, and I don't think they took advantage of it properly. When you're a player up, you want to move the ball as fast as you can to expose where that opening is going to be, typically on the far side or the back side. And I think they're a little bit too reliant on that 1v1 dodging. We'll see the Cardinals now really just slow it down. Bedford has the opportunity to pressure out if they want because they have that extra defender.
Cardinals hoping to kill the clock as effectively as possible. They won't here. Good play. Kylie, despite being on the other side of the 30, able to reach over and poke it loose, but a double team gives it right back. Jordan Gable has had a heck of a game defensively tonight. Gets a big ground ball in a big spot. Nice pass, hooks up with the sophomore Lynn. Lynn gets to safety, and BG still clinging to that 9-8 lead as we hit the midway point fourth quarter.
Lynn has been one of just the most reliable players for the Cardinals today. She seems like she's been absolutely everywhere and very, very consistent.
Meanwhile, a good sign for the Cardinals. Anna Kempel is back on the field after leaving the game earlier in the third quarter with an apparent injury, but she's okay. She's out on the field for Bishop Guertin. Meanwhile, a whistle. And now let's see if the sophomore can stand tall for Bedford in net. Kukalachis from straight away comes down the alley and beats the sophomore with a bouncer. 10-8. Little breathing room now for BG. A big-time goal for the big-time senior midfielder on her way to Elon. Ariana Kukalachis able to go a couple of steps towards the cage. Bouncer just squeezed it in, it looked like, on the near side.
You could see Cy in goal playing a really high crease, and so when you do that, you expose yourself to those low shots, being able to shoot right around her. And the Cardinals scored that right as they became even strength, so they got that opportunity. They got the ball moving, even without Redfern on the field just yet.
That's the first Cardinal goal since the midway point of the third quarter. Comes with just over 5 minutes to go in the fourth. 10-8. BG has never trailed tonight. Led by as many as 4. And now it's Lynn against, looks like Muir for Bedford.
We've been seeing a lot of personnel changes. I think we can attribute this on both sides to just how well coached both teams are.
Yeah.
We're seeing that, all coaches, very experienced, high-level coaches, and they've brought their A game today, making adjustments between quarters, even, mid-play, we've seen a ton of coaching going on the sideline, and you can hear those sidelines loud.
Coach Hodgson, over a decade now on the sideline for Bedford. I believe the only head coach in program history. And, of course, for Bishop Guertin, they're led by first-year head coach Callie Santos, an alum and a former teammate of yours. Played, of course, NCAA lacrosse at UMass. All right, a key whistle. Matthews with a chance to make it a one-goal game. It's not going to happen here. The 5-hole is shut by Eder Linnell, who read that one very well to keep it a 10-8 game.
Yeah, I mentioned before, but, Bedford had started to kind of expose a weakness with Eder Linnell in this game, shooting low on her, whereas Matthews, her strength is typically just ripping it high. And so I am surprised that we didn't see her, leverage that strength of hers, but also understand she's trying to change it up and go with what's been working.
And credit Eder Linnell for making the adjustment on her end as well.
Excellent save.
Meanwhile, this shot put up in traffic by Tomasello goes wild. And this is going to belong to Bedford. Clock starting to become a factor. We're inside of 4 minutes. Bedford's got to hurry from deep out of their own end. Trailing 10-8. We'll try the sideline. Muir, 3 defenders in the area, going to circle back. Whip it overhead. Finds Purnell. Purnell with Schmidt all over her. Good split dodge. Purnell showing speed inside the 30. Kuchalakis takes a whack at her. Purnell finally gets rid of it. It's Kylie. Far side, just over 3 minutes to go.
Again, we see Bedford setting up that two-man game that has been highly effective for them.
Comes middle, it's poked out. Whistle will keep it here.
Charge.
No, it won't. Well, you could hear some of the Cardinal fans upset with the initial call, and just like that, they're applauding and saying, nice job. So quickly things can change from one end to the other. So BG, they draw the charge, they get possession, and now are going to get a whistle in their own end as Kukalakis keeps it moving. Goes over the top. It's Lynn. Lynn with Matthews breathing down her neck, trying to stay in bounds far side. And again draws a whistle. Quick restart, and the clock ticking down towards 2:20 to go.
You can see the Bulldogs immediately, they start to press out further, getting into their high pressure situation. Teams practice this. You practice an end of game situation where you need the ball back.
And what if you're the Cardinals here with a 2-goal lead to protect? What's the fine line between clock and staying aggressive?
Yeah, so I'd kill this clock a little bit for sure, especially if they're going to give you that space. Spread the defense out wide. One of the things when a defense is going to press out this far, you can really expose them because they don't have that slide readily available. And with the speed on this Cardinals offense, pull the Bulldogs out as wide as you can and then try and beat them just with that speed.
Redfern gets inside of Norris, but it's Matthews who comes over defensively on the switch. 95 seconds to go. Redfern being chased by Matthews. Finds Schmidt on the far side, and BG continues to play keep away.
Biggest thing for the Cardinals here is to keep their feet moving. As soon as you stop your feet, that's when you get into trouble.
Dumont can't find Campbell. Senior took her eye off it. It goes out of bounds. So Bedford, they get the turnover they needed. And now they're going to get a timeout as well with 1:09 remaining. So a timeout. Bedford, as Coach Hodgson hopes to draw up first the clear and then the shot. Of course, Bedford needs a sequence of events to go their way, but to begin with, they'll draw up plans for the clear. Again, tomorrow night, we're on the road in the Queen City for a highly anticipated Division II championship rematch on the boys' side. It's undefeated Portsmouth against defending champion Derryfield. Game time, 6 o'clock tomorrow. Roger Howe joins me on the call. We're live from the Derryfield School for that showdown, so don't go away as we're right back at it tomorrow night. All right, final 69 seconds here, Kristen. If you're Bedford, as we mentioned, a few things need to happen, but take us inside that Bulldog huddle.
Yeah, so I think the first thing they're doing is resting their players because a lot of their midfielders are two-way midfielders, and they were just playing pretty high-pressure D, chasing the Cardinals all around that end. So they're resting here right now. They've had some trouble in this clear. So they're going to need to lean on their speed right now and then protect their stick. We're going to see the Cardinals come at them. If you're BG right now, I'm talking about how to stay disciplined. You have to limit the fouls. You can't get any cards in this situation. I need to just try and ride as cleanly as possible.
Well, either way, the winner leaves at 9-2, and the team that's defeated is still in pretty good shape at 8-3. And of course, both teams going right back at it later on this week. So it's a big game. It's a rivalry game, kind of a measuring stick game. But in the end, it's still just a regular season game, right? So you can't put too much stock into it if you lose.
Both teams, they're going to make a deep run in the postseason.
All right, Bedford out of the timeout is literally going to have to go end-to-end here. Got a conversation happening between Norris and Barry, the two defenders for Bedford. Barry's set to trigger it. There's two BG Cardinals in the area, including Naftaldi, who's right on her hip. She's going to sprint to the right side. Redfern is in the mix as well. But look at the speed here. Barry's still going. The sophomore showing off the track skills along the sideline, all the way inside the 30 before she's forced to give it up. And now Matthews is going to come middle. Matthews inside the 10. Matthews lost the ball. And a whistle here is going to set up a free position shot. Clock continues to run. Now it stops with 37 seconds.
I love that call by Bedford. Give it to your fastest player and let her run. And Barry showed off.
Just as Coach Hodgson drew it up. Meanwhile, Matthews had a bit of an angle that Gary Wong says, no, you're going to take a more traditional straightaway approach. Shot, no, it's wide. That lethal step down from the senior. Everybody held their breath. It goes wide, but it stays with Bedford, and now we're inside of 25 seconds. Trying to power away to the net. Shot there from Kylie, partially blocked, and then look out. A little bit of a shove near the soccer net sent the Bedford senior Denon flying. Bedford's going to have a third crack. Maddie's got to hurry. Final 10 seconds. She loses it. Kuchalakis gets to the ground ball, and Bishop Guertin is going to wind down the clock to 0. The Cardinals with a wire-to-wire road win here in Bedford. 10-8 is the final. Lauren Redfern set the tone. Her teammates picked up the slack. And despite a late push by the Bulldogs to make it interesting in the end, it's BG who escapes with their 9th win of the season. Coming up, full post-game recap, stats, highlights, out-of-town scoreboard, and a look at tomorrow's broadcast as well. You are watching our Friday Night Lights New Hampshire Game of the Week, presented by Beals Insurance.
Our broadcast today, as it always is brought to you by Beals Insurance Agency, with locations now in both Bedford and Londonderry. Whether you need home, auto, or business insurance, Beals Insurance will get you both the price and quality coverage that's right for you. Just call 603-471-9999 or visit BealsInsurance.com to request a free quote and start saving money today. Again, that's BealsInsurance.com. The New Hampshire Tomahawks promote the highest level of club lacrosse competition, not just in the state, but in the country. Looking to get recruited? Director Chris Cameron keeps an open dialogue with the nation's top college lacrosse coaches. Over 400 New Hampshire Tomahawks alumni have played at the college level, including the ACC, Big East, Big Ten, Ivy, NESCAC, NE10, and more. The New Hampshire Tomahawks coaching staff has over 100 coaches, including current high school, varsity, and college coaches. The Tomahawks offer training for players of all ages, clinics, camps, and leagues, along with spring, summer, and fall elite teams. So play with the best. The New Hampshire Tomahawks, showcase and development for college lacrosse. Visit NewHampshireTomahawks.com and girls.nhtomahawks.com. How can you reach your team's fundraising goals at no risk and no cost? MG Sports offers a variety of products to make your team's fundraiser a success. Their products include tickets and discount cards to hundreds of local businesses. MG Sports now has a digital platform where athletes can raise funds in the comfort and safety of their own home. So become another lacrosse program like Bedford, Goffstown, or Memorial that sets fundraising records every season. MG Sports, fundraising made easy. Visit mgsportsfundraising.com to start raising money for your team today.
Well, BG escapes with a 10-8 win over Bedford to improve to 9-2. Bulldogs slip to 8-3. Nick Anastas, Kristen Cameron with you in our Friday Night Lights New Hampshire Game of the Week, presented by Beals Insurance. These two rivals got off to an even start. It was 3-3 late in the first quarter. Lauren Redfern put the exclamation point on a tremendous first quarter effort for the senior headed to Villanova. 3 goals in that opening frame. BG held a 4-3 lead after one. And then it was halftime, and you look up at the scoreboard, and it's 7-4. A little more breathing room for the Cardinals. Cam Schmidt chipped in with 2 of her 3 goals tonight coming in that second quarter. And then early in the third quarter, it seemed like BG was on the verge of blowing them out, as it was 8-4 at one point and then 9-5, a couple of different 4-goal leads. But Bedford never quit. They got Olivia Matthews going again late in that third quarter, strung together at 1.3 straight to cut it to 9-8. And then ultimately, it's Kukalachis who makes the difference for BG on a free position shot, comes up with the goal, and the final 6 minutes or so are scoreless. We end up with a 10-8 final as BG beats Bedford. Your thoughts, Kristen?
I think it was a really competitive matchup, especially, I wasn't sure what to expect heading into this game, knowing that the depth was a little bit lopsided, favoring the Cardinals, but the Bulldogs really made up for that with their possessions and winning the draw control. That was huge for them throughout the game. As BG started to, get more of that lead, they were winning the draw controls, and so that's what helped Bedford, really claw their way back in. They got those possessions, and I was really impressed with some of the other players on Bedford stepping up big. You saw Maddie Kiley really consistent throughout the game. And, seeing some new names on both sides. We saw Denon have a big goal, big plays for the Bulldogs, and then Naftali for the Cardinals with 2 key goals.
Yeah. What's the message in both huddles? Obviously, you're elated if you're the Cardinals. You're a little down if you're Bedford, but both teams, as you said, poised for long tournament runs. What are these head coaches telling their teams?
Both teams should feel good coming out of this game, but knowing that they have a long ways to go and a lot that they can work on and learn from this game. For the Bulldogs in particular, cleaning up some of those turnovers. They had to fight so hard for every possession, and especially in their clear, they just turned it over far too much. And so I think if they can focus on that these next few weeks, they'll be in a good position should these teams rematch later on in the season.
Reminder, we're on the air tomorrow night, about 5:45, 5:50. Starting to look for us around then, ahead of that 6 o'clock opening face-off between Portsmouth and Derryfield. Speaking of rivals, I guess it's rivalry week here on Friday Night Lights, New Hampshire. Those two teams, of course, met in the championship a year ago. So, I want to thank you, Kristen, for filling in as usual, setting the bar very high. We appreciate it. And I want to thank my man Corey Parker downstairs for giving us the green light. Bill Jennings, my old friend from BCTV, for sharing the space. And, of course, our sponsors tonight, Beals Insurance, MG Sports Fundraising, and the New Hampshire Tomahawks. Tomorrow, 6 o'clock, Portsmouth and Derryfield for our 2 superb camera videographers, Kat Doyle and Josh Lebrecht. Of course, the man behind the curtain tonight is our director, Ben Beals, executive producer, Steve Beals. My name, Nick Anastas, saying so long. Final score, final time. Bishop Guertin 10, Bedford 8. It's been a presentation of our Friday Night Lights New Hampshire Game of the Week, presented by Beals Insurance.